Hi, my name is Heather. Welcome to Fork in the Loaf. We are going to be doing milk kefir today. I've had a couple of requests for people to show how I do it. We've been doing milk kefir for a couple of years now. It's got more probiotics in it than yogurt. My understanding is yogurt generally has about 5 to 7 strains of is it lactobacillus or some sort of probiotics. Kefir. So it's the Kefir. Water kefir is also called tabicos or something like that, somewhere down south I want to say, but milk kefir is what we're talking about today. And the traditional kefir was made in goatskin leather bags. They would hang it near the doorway. My understanding too is like the sheep herders or goat herders would take it out with them. And they'd be knocked by anyone passing just to mix it all up, because I don't mix mine. I just mix mine once and then set it up there and forget it till the next day. And the homeland of kefir is somewhere. It's a place called Elbrus. It's along the upper reaches of Kuban. It's something to do with the Soviet. It sounds like it originated in the Soviet Union. And around the 21st century is when it really started to kind of spread from the Soviet Union into Europe and Canada, Japan. It got to us in the 21st century, the Americans. So what we are going to be talking about is basically how I do my milk kefir. It's a fermented milk beverage. You can use goat's milk, sheep milk, cow's milk. I'm pretty sure you could probably use any animal milk that you would consume. I use a raw local milk. You can use store-bought milk. I've even interchanged it because I didn't have access to the store-bought milk for a little while, and it takes once or twice before it kind of gets used to it, but you can still consume it. It's fine. I really like the taste of it with the raw milk. It's got like a creamy butteriness to it. That's really good. Anyway, so in this right here, I have the grains and the raw milk that I put in it last night. And if you can see that little line right there, that's cream from the milk that I get. And the rest is just kind of kefired milk. It's not kefir. If you look, I guess I shouldn't say it's not kefir, but I know I kind of looked up, Googled how to pronounce Kefir, and the proper way to say it is kefir. Anyway, so in here every night before I go to bed, and right now it is 9:20. I take the kefir from the fridge. This is the stuff that we've been storing. And you notice it's about that full right now. I've given some to my dogs already. I give my little guy, who's about 12 pounds, I give him about a tablespoon a day. And my big dog, who's about 80 to 90 pounds, I give him about 4 or 5 tablespoons a day. So in here, I'm going to pour enough for me and my husband to drink. And it is kind of thick. It's like a thick, drinkable yogurt. And it tastes like a sharp, plain, thick, drinkable yogurt. It's not super pleasant to drink. Like, I shouldn't say that. It's not, you kind of get used to it. I kind of have learned to like it and to look forward to it. It's not something that I would go, but it's definitely something that I enjoy drinking. And I think you notice when you don't drink it. You don't really notice how it affects you while you're drinking it, but when you stop drinking it, you kind of start to kind of miss it. My mom swears by it to keep her moving properly. I know that's TMI. So anyway, I clear a little space in here, and I use this for about the whole gallon of milk that I get. The gallon that I get, it comes in a plastic jug. That's just how they sell it. But I'm going to point you down and show you how I do this. So I'm going to take my canning funnel, and then this is a nylon mesh strainer that I usually use nylon. I do have a stainless steel one that I could use if I needed to. I just prefer to use not metal. And see, it's really thick and creamy, like the yogurt type stuff. And then once I mix it up, it'll get to be more like that thick drinkable. And see, you can see the cream versus the yogurt color. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but there's quite the color difference. But I try to mix it up a little bit, and then I'm going to pour a half of it in here, and I'm going to strain it through. It does take a little bit of maneuvering because it's thick, and it's what do they call those? Curdy? Like, it's got little curds that kind of develop around the they have curds that kind of develop, but they're not hard curds. They're very soft, and you can squish them through. The grains themselves are not actual grains. They just kind of look like, cauliflower, or if you've ever seen Jell-O before, like when it clumps up. That's what it reminds me of, clumped Jell-O, or a jelly cauliflower. And what those grains are is basically like a SCOBY. They're a symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeasts. And it's just like when you have your kombucha SCOBY, not quite the same. This is more grain-like, and that's more mushroom-like. This will take out a lot of the lactose. It eats about, I think, about 25% of the lactose, which is the sugar that's present in milk. A lot of times people that are lactose intolerant, this breaks down the lactose mostly to lactic acid, 25% by the lactic acid bacteria, which results in acidification, which keeps it from going bad. This stuff will last in your refrigerator for months. It'll last on your counter for around a month. Now, the grains will eventually not. Like, you have to feed them every day. If you don't feed them every day, you can starve and kill them. For a pint, you only need a tablespoon, and mine pretty much double within a week. I usually can do this. I'll feed to my dogs, and they love this stuff. But the last time I did this was probably 4 or 5 days ago. So it's like it doesn't even take a whole week that it will double. But see, that's a whole nother tablespoon right there. And I just usually wait until about doubled before I give them to my dogs. And that is all I do tonight with the stuff that has been fermented. The lactobacilli that's in the kefir, they can exist in concentration varying from approximately 1 million to 1 billion colony forming units per millimeter, which is like massive in the probiotic world. It has a similar vitamin and mineral makeup as milk. It has pretty much all the same vitamins and minerals that milk has. But in addition to to all of that, they have bacterias in them and strains of yeast that can metabolize the lactose. So in the same jar, and I use this jar pretty much through this whole gallon. Kind of give that a good little stir. During this fermentation process, bacteria and yeast break the lactose down into glucose and galactose. The lactose levels are decreased by 20 to 30%. Let me grab a paper towel. Sometimes, if you're not super lactose intolerant, sometimes you can tolerate this stuff. Also, if you are on a low-carb diet, this eats that lactose. It eats the sugars out of here. So I believe this is lower in carb. I'm not quite sure how much. And I haven't been able to find science based on that, but to me, in my brain, it just makes sense. You gotta, I'm looking for the science on that. If you guys know of anything, post it in the comments down below. The shelf life of this unrefrigerated is up to 30 days. This stuff right here, I'm now gonna just put in my refrigerator. So once I have stirred this and I have you know, I've put the fresh milk in here. I'm just going to put the cap on lightly like this. I'm not going to screw it down because I'm just keeping that there to keep dust and bugs and stuff like that out of the milk. But I want it to set at room temperature in a dark area, so I always put it up in my cupboard. I have the same spot in a cupboard that I put it up in every single night, and I let it sit there until tomorrow night when I go through the same process again. You can also do a second ferment on this like you can with water kefir. You can do this, strain the grains, and then cap it and let it sit for another 24 hours. 12 to 18 hours, whatever. And I don't know if they add milk to it or really I've never done that. I've just done the 24-hour ferment, and then I stick it in the fridge. And let me tell you, putting it in the fridge will make it taste a little bit better. I've heard of rice and soy milk being used successfully for this. I don't know about almond or any of those other different milks. Some of the ways that I have used this, I drink it plain. I've used it in ranch dressing. You can use it to make sourdough bread. My dog is trying to have a conversation with us. You can use it in anything you would use buttermilk in. My biggest problem with that is all the probiotics will die as soon as you cook it. You can eat it with granola. Add some granola and use this like instead of milk or instead of yogurt, and pour some honey and some fruit like frozen blueberries or something in there. You can use it to make ice cream. You can use it in soups. There's actually a cold soup that I don't even remember what country it is, but they use this in this cold soup. I've heard of being able to use it to make sourdough bread. You can strain this and make a kefir cheese, which is kind of similar to cream cheese kind of a thing. And your whey that you strain off of this, I've heard of people using that to make mayonnaise, and it helps your mayonnaise last longer. So that is how I do my kefir. It's that easy. I just do it once a night. I feed some to my dogs every night. I feed some to me and my husband every night. My kids and my kids don't want to have anything to do with it. My mother will have like this much. My mother will have like this much, and she'll put some of this stuff in it. It's like the stevia vanilla cream sweet drops, and it does kind of help it taste better. I personally just like to just get it in my system and go to bed. I usually drink it right before I go to bed. I have heard that it's supposed to help you sleep better. I don't know if I've noticed a difference. I don't have problems with sleep, so I don't know if it really helps or not. But yeah, that's my milk kefir. I'm trying to think if there's anything I've forgotten, and I can't really think of anything. Using it in the ranch is probably one of my go-tos. Drinking it, smoothies, milkshakes. Yeah, so, all right. Thanks for joining me on this adventure of the fork and the loaf. I'm going to bed. Have a great night, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe and share this on social media with your friends. If you like these kind of videos, give it a thumbs up. Thank you.